The music originated from Cuba in the early 1930s. Its roots come from various African rhythms and the traditional Cuban music, son. There are many different styles of salsa dance that are influenced by the respective regions. Salsa is similar to mambo, and they both have a pattern of 6 steps danced over 8 counts of music. Salsa is not only Cuban. We must give credit to Cuba for its origin and ancestry of creation. Since its birth, this Afro-Cuban rhythm has travelled throughout Latin America with major influences coming from both Puerto Rico and Colombia. It is here where contradanza, country dance of England and France, later called danzón, begins to mix with rumbas of African origin, guaguancó, Colombia and yambú. Salsa was later brought to the United States through the Latin immigration to the big cities such as New York, Miami and Los Angeles. New York created the term salsa, but it did not create the dance. The term became popular as a nickname to refer to a variety of different music from several countries of Hispanic influence. With its sensual style and flashy turns, it crosses cultural barriers and sweeps the nation from coast to coast. Like many of the other Latin dance forms that are popular among ballroom, what makes the salsa dance unique is its ability to absorb the many steps and turns from other dances, such as the mambo, cumbia, hustle, swing, jazz, and the other local dances.
The cha-cha-cha is one of the most recent phenomena in the evolution of Cuban music. Like the mambo in the beginning, the cha-cha-cha was only a new type of music. In 1948, the musician Enrique Jorin rearranged a popular Mexican song combining the Cuban rhythms, the danzón and the montuno. As it had a much slower rhythm than the mambo, it couldn't be danced with the usual mambo figures, which were created for a much faster rhythm. The dancers use the 3 close beats of the bongo, which are characteristics of this music. A dance which, because of its simplicity, spread quickly around the world.
Tango is a social dance originating from Buenos Aires, Argentina and Montevideo, Uruguay. The musical styles that evolved together with the dance are also known as tango. Early tango was known as tango criollo or simply tango. Today, there are many tango dance styles, including Argentine tango, ballroom tango, American international styles, and other ethnic styles. The Argentine tango is often regarded as the authentic tango, since it is closest to that originally danced in Argentina and Uruguay, though other styles of tangos have developed into mature dances in their own right. Ballroom tango, divided in recent decades into the international, English and American styles, have descended from the tango styles that developed when the tango first went abroad to Europe and North America. Subsequently, the English tango evolved mainly as a highly competitive dance, while the American tango evolved as an unjudged social dance with an emphasis on leading and following skills. Ballroom tangos also uses different music and styling from Argentine tangos with more staccato movements. Argentine and ballroom tango use very different techniques and vocabularies, to the point where some consider them related in name only. In Argentine tango, the body center moves first, then the feet reach to support it. In ballroom tango, the feet move and the whole body weight follows. Most other types of tango, such as Finnish and Chinese, are close to the Argentine in their technique and vocabulary.
The meaning of the term samba could have 2 different origins. The samba could have derived from the word zampo, which identifies the Brazilians of Nea origin and the mixed-race Indios. It could also come from the word semba, that characterizes a movement of some of the typical fertility dances from Portuguese Angola. Brazilian music is the outcome of a cultural and ethnic mixture. In fact, Brazilian music is influenced by sacred music of European origin, brought over by Portuguese colonization, and by the typical music of the population of black African slaves. The samba dance, like Brazilian music, has various origins. It has traces of the batuque dance, a ritual dance of the African slaves, of the landu dance, a dance from the Congo, and of the maxiques dance, for the hold and position of the couple. There are various types of samba: the samba Bahia, the samba Carioca, and the samba Guineo.
The Viennese waltz originally comes from the suburbs of Vienna and from the Alpine regions of Austria. The Länder dance is originally the forerunner of our Viennese waltz. It was rural boys and girls who first found these whirling steps so appealing. The steps and figures from the Ländler were reduced due to the speed of music, and the six-step Viennese waltz was born. As early as the 17th century, waltzes were played in the ballrooms of the Habsburg court. The Weller or turning dances were danced by peasants in Austria and Bavaria even before that time. The waltz was also criticized on moral grounds by those opposed to its closer hold and rapid turning movements. The close contact with one's partner's body contrasted sharply with the stately dances of the aristocracy, the minuets, polonaises and quadrilles in which one kept one's distance. Religious leaders almost unanimously regarded as vulgar and sinful. Music plays an important role in dance. The waltz was given a tremendous boost around 1830 by two great Austrian composers, Franz Lanner and Johann Strauss. And when he visited Vienna, the composer Hector Berlioz was struck with a passion for the waltz. After the First World War, the waltz started to develop more into the right direction with figures like the natural and reverse turn and the close change. The development process of the waltz was tough and slow. You have two styles of waltz, the Viennese waltz and the slow waltz, which originates in England and has more choreographies.
The rumba originates from the islands of Cuba, like Hanabera and Guajira. In the beginning, it was the dance of African farmers who had been brought to Cuba to work on the tobacco, coffee and sugar plantations. This dance, of Ganga origin, is characterized by movements of the body rather than the feet. The first version of the rumba, at the end of the 1920s, was known as the rumba bolero. The present form of the rumba is the Cuban rumba, which was created at the end of the 1940s and developed by teachers in England and the States. Today, the rumba is often remembered as a sports dance, which has nothing to do with its origin. The rumba has lost most of its original aggression. The rhythm is slower and characterized by lithe movements of the hips. Originally, the rumba was diversified as Colombia, Yambu, or Guaganco, based on the steps and the allegorical meaning these assumed.
The quick step is derived from the foxtrot. The quick step is elegant like the foxtrot and should be smooth and glamorous. The dancers should appear to be very light on their feet. The quick step evolved from a combination of the foxtrot, charleston, shag, peabody and one step. It is now quite separate from the foxtrot. The dance gradually evolved into a very dynamic one with a lot of movement on the dance floor, with many advanced patterns including hops, runs, quick steps and a lot of momentum and rotation. The two international style syllabi of the ISTD and IDTA for quick steps slightly differ. The American Style Dance Competition program does not include quick step, nevertheless the dance is taught and danced socially in American dance venues. The foxtrot was introduced in Europe just before World War I. From its origin, the foxtrot was a passionate dance with slow and quick movements. They say the name comes from musical dancer Harry Fox. Initially, the foxtrot was originally danced to ragtime Today, the dance is customarily accompanied with the same big band music to which swing is also danced. The foxtrot was the most significant development in all of ballroom dancing. The combination of quick and slow steps permits more flexibility and gives much greater dancing pleasure than the one-step and two-step which it has replaced. There's more variety in the foxtrot than in any other dance, and in some ways it is the hardest dance to learn. The slow foxtrot came into being long after the waltz. The dance has a lot of variations which later, adapted or not, were imported into the waltz. This dance is one of the most natural dances from which the jury members can see whether a couple can dance or not. The movements are natural and faithful to the normal walk.
The jive, which was invented in Harlem in the 1920s at the Savoy Ballroom, is the most active of the Latin American dances. The rhythm is frantic, its figures require style, physical stamina, strength and elasticity. The use of the hands plays an important role. The jive, also called Lindy Hop, is one of the dances that belong to the jitterbug genre. Jitters means nervous agitation. It was developed in the period that runs from the end of the First World War to the eve of the Second. In its first form, which dates back to the 1920s, the jive was danced exclusively by black dancers. It was later taken up by white dancers who added numerous figures and brought technical modifications that complicated it and made it heavier to dance. After the Second World War, with the evolution of jazz towards bebop, it became the basis of rock and roll, while jive underwent a series of revisions and stylistic perfectioning that made it one of the dances which are still the most prestigious at international level. It comes under the discipline of Latin American dances.
The music originated from Cuba in the early 1930s. Its roots come from various African rhythms and the traditional Cuban music, son. There are many different styles of salsa dance that are influenced by the respective regions. Salsa is similar to mambo, and they both have a pattern of 6 steps danced over 8 counts of music. Salsa is not only Cuban. We must give credit to Cuba for its origin and ancestry of creation. Since its birth, this Afro-Cuban rhythm has traveled throughout Latin America with major influences coming from both Puerto Rico and Colombia. It is here where contradanza, country dance of England and France, later called danzón, begins to mix with rumbas of African origin, guaguancó, Colombia and yambú. Salsa was later brought to the United States through the Latin immigration to the big cities such as New York, Miami and Los Angeles. New York created the term salsa, but it did not create the dance. The term became popular as a nickname to refer to a variety of different music from several countries of Hispanic influence. With its sensual style and flashy turns, it crosses cultural barriers and sweeps the nation from coast to coast. Like many of the other Latin dance forms that are popular among ballroom, what makes the salsa dance unique is its ability to absorb the many steps and turns from other dances, such as the mambo, cumbia, hustle, swing, jazz, and the other local dances.
The pasodoble is the interpretation of dance as a Spanish bullfight. The man plays the bullfighter, and the woman personifies the red shoe. It's a Spanish dance from the beginning of the 1900s with a happy and moderate pace. The pasodoble accompanied the parade of the quadrilles in the bullfight. It then spread all over Europe as a theatrical dance and ballroom dance. All parts of the body are involved in this dance. The legs, the hands, the expression, the whole face, all these elements make this dance one of the most overwhelming. The carriage of the couple must be glorious, proud. The man must show character and considerable physical strength. The woman's body must be quick, docile and agitated. Even though the Pasodoble is a typical competition dance which is full of difficult figures, it's always enjoyed great popular success.
The mambo dance originated in Cuba, where there were substantial settlements of Haitians. The mambo was an important innovation as it took the danson from the upper classes and put it in the dance halls of the people. By the mid-1950s, mambo mania had reached fever pitch. In New York, the mambo was played in such an energetic and sophisticated way that had the Palladium Ballroom, the most famous Broadway dance hall, jumping. The fusion of swing and Cuban music produced this fascinating rhythm and in turn created a new sensational dance. The mambo craze did not last long, and today the mambo is only limited to advanced dancers. Teachers agree that this is one of the most difficult of dances. One of the greatest contributions of the mambo is that it led to the development of the cha-cha. The whole of this DVD collection was made in Verona at the Palazzo Verità Poeta. Palazzo Verità Poeta, Palace Truth Poet, represents perhaps one of the most beautiful city examples of architectural Veneto. The palace, today property of Conte Bevilacqua, draws its name from the noble family Verità, meaning truth, originally came from Etruria. Famous Italian artists such as Antonio Galli da Bibbiena (1697–1774), Filippo Maccari (1725–1800), Francesco Lorenzi (1723–1787), and Lorenzo Bavia (1741–1764) all participated in the construction and the decoration of the palace. As you leave the massive hall, you come to 6 rooms in the main living quarters, all decorated with frescoes and antique furniture. The palace also contains a wonderful 1,000 square meter inner garden. Being inside the palace, it is like experiencing a true immersion into the art and history right in the heart of Verona.